The Women's Leadership Institute in the Auburn University College of Liberal Arts is pleased to present Leaders Educating Through Discussion. We hope you will take a moment after you watch our presentation to add your own voice to the dialogue on our website, auburn.edu/women's leadership.
From the AU Singers, E.A. Moore and Allison Dexter.
Hi! Like she said, my name is E.A. My real name is Elizabeth Ann, but E.A. is so much shorter and easier, and people remember it, so that's what I go by. I'm 22, I'll be 23 in October, and I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm currently in my second year of pharmacy school, so I'm feeling very blessed to have made it through the first, and the second year's the worst, so here we are. I am a recent alumnus of the AU Singers. Allison and I both finished up our time there in May. So we have both been in the group for the last 4 years. So this is our first year to live in Auburn and not be in Singers, which is very weird. And I'll let Allison tell you a little bit about herself.
Hey, y'all, I'm Allison Dexter. I'm actually originally from Plano, Texas, right outside of Dallas. And like EA, I was in AU Singers for 4 years and really loved it. It's really what made Auburn special to me. So I am currently in grad school for doing a Master's of Accountancy here, so it's just a 1-year program. So we both basically rolled off of our 4 years of Singers, and so it's been kind of fun, just kind of reflecting on all the fun we had the past couple of years. So.
One thing that we're going to do is show y'all a little clip of the AU Singers at our fall retreat. This is something that we do usually either early October, end of September. We go and learn about 3 or 4 numbers of choreography, all within the span of about 48 hours. So it's hardcore, we learn quickly, we learn efficiently, and we have a lot of fun together and join as a group. So here we don't actually have on our sparkly outfits. Obviously, when we do our shows, we have our blue outfits that have orange sequins because we love Auburn. So here we have on our jeans and t-shirts. But you get to see a little bit of the learning process. The first song that we're singing is the Auburn Alma Mater, which is something that's very near and dear to our hearts. We love the university, and the group kind of gets to be ambassadors for the university. We get to go and perform for Welcome Week at the library, or for the Golden Eagles, which are a bunch of old men who have a lot of money and love Auburn so much and want us to sing. So we serve as ambassadors for the university and have so much fun doing it. So here's just a little clip of our first big weekend together last fall.
On the rolling plains of Dixie, neath the sun-kissed sky, proudly stands our alma mater, banners high.
back on. So we have fun. We get to hang out. So anyway, what we kind of wanted to talk to you about today, Allison and I have both been really privileged to hold several different leadership roles in the group during our 4 years. And so we've both learned a lot from that experience. So basically, my point is going to be the fact that you get to look at your own gifts and use sometimes it can be trial and error to figure out what leadership roles work for you, where you can best serve, what things aren't perfect, but you're really needed, so you do it anyway and just give it your best shot. So there's a lot of different facets to finding a place where you know you can serve and giving some different leadership roles a try. So I'm going to kind of walk through my sophomore, junior, and senior year of singers and the different roles that I held those years. So my sophomore year, I was the section leader of the soprano section, which was weird because I was really young and that is not my gift. You gotta understand that Allison and I, neither of us are like fabulously, crazily talented. We're both pretty diligent individuals.
We're just passionate about music as well.
Yeah.
Which is the difference.
So we're not like superhuman or anything. It's worked out well and we've been able to use our gifts. So my sophomore year when I was section leader, I was really out of my comfort zone. Like there were older girls that were in the section that were juniors and seniors, but like didn't have time or didn't want to commit to it. So I just, like Dale, who was our director, asked me to do it, and so I was like, okay, great. So I was section leader, which was not my favorite role, but I learned a lot from doing that. Like I said, I definitely had to step out of my comfort zone, and what it made me do was spend more time on what I wasn't naturally as good at. I would much rather work on the choreography, but I had to sit down every week before rehearsal and work on the music and make sure that when we split into sectionals and I had to be in charge of teaching the sopranos their music, that I was prepared. I'd worked on the rhythms, I'd worked on the notes, so it made me spend extra time doing something that I wasn't obsessed with, but I had to do it, and that was just the way it was. So it taught me a lot about prep work, and sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and do something that you're not as passionate about, but you know that it's gonna serve and you know that it's necessary. So you just put on your big girl panties and get going. So that was kind of my sophomore year. Kind of shaky experience, but it's okay, I learned a lot through it. My junior year, Allison and I got to be co-vice presidents. In singers, there are 2 vice presidents because it's one of those jobs that has a lot of busy work. Vice presidents deal with all of our publicity. So if you're ever driving around town and you drive past Chick-fil-A and the little marquee says, "AU Singers Show, this time, this date, call this number for tickets." That happened because me or Allison called up the manager over at Chick-fil-A and said, "Hey, can I spend a few minutes of your time and get this and blah, 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 and this is what I needed to say." So it's a lot of background work.
Yeah,
and
you'd be amazed to the amount of things that need to be done that you don't realize just looking at a group from the outside.
Exactly.
So it was a lot of work, but we both.
That was our job.
Yeah.
So Allison and I learned a lot that year. I had to get out of my comfort zone and build some confidence in just calling up some people on the phone and asking them for favors. That's intimidating to dial a number and go, "Oh my goodness, I really hope that this is the right number, and I hope that the person on the other end isn't going to hate me for needing a favor from them." So that was intimidating, and it built a lot of confidence for both of us. Another thing that we do is the vice presidents are in charge of the little posters that you see around campus. So if you pass by a window and there are 8 posters plastered on there, somebody made them, called the printer, got them printed, picked them up, decided where they would go, gave them out, and assigned people to put them there. That's what we did. So I ended up designing the publicity, which was not my thing. I'm not creative. And so I ended up having to try to work on my computer and pretend like I was good at that. And I wasn't, but it's okay. We made it happen. So basically, junior year, I learned a lot about, first of all, accountability. Because Allison and I had to say, we need to do this, this, and this. Who's going to do it? When are we going to do it? What's our timeline? And Allison and I were good at it because we're both diligent and we're both pretty responsible.
Correct.
So it was great because the guy who was president that year would say like, oh, we need to do this, and Allison and I were like, done, did it 2 weeks ago. So that was encouraging. So we got to learn a lot about accountability and dividing up your roles and working together. So that was a lot of fun, and it taught us a lot about being in charge of something big. My senior year, I got to be dance captain, which was so much fun. That's my thing. Like I've taught dance since I was in the 8th grade. Love it. That's my passion. So that was great for me because that was a leadership role where I got to be in my comfort zone and just do what I'm good at and do what I love to do. So that was something that I didn't have to prep for, which was nice. So basically, I found that was kind of my niche. You know, everybody has, in their different organizations, everybody has their thing that they're good at, and that was mine. So I was really grateful to get to do that my senior year. It's a mature role because you make decisions about what songs we sing and who gets solos for things based on some choreography, and who dances on the front row, which is like, that's intimidating and it affects a lot of people. So I was grateful that I didn't have that role until I was a senior, because I think if I had it as a sophomore, I wouldn't have been ready for it. So it came at a good time in my life where I was equipped to do it. I also obviously got to choreograph a lot, which was so fun for me. I got to just do what I'm good at and what I love. What else? Oh, another thing that I did as dance captain was a lot of times I was in charge of rehearsal. Dale would be doing something else with the band or working with a soloist, and so I kind of controlled the pace of the rehearsal and decided when things were done and when we could leave something until the week before the show and what needed more work. So it was a lot, and I was once again grateful that at that point in my life I was 21, and not 19. There's a big difference between those ages. So I guess that my point is figure out what works for you, because it takes time, and it can be really intimidating when you feel like you're not in the right spot for you, but you just have to push through it anyway. So I would encourage all of y'all, like Allison and I are so passionate about music and about musical theater, and so this is our place that we got to learn and grow as young women. So I would encourage you to find what works for you. You know, what's your spot that you would just give all the time in the world for? Because singers is so time consuming, and there's a lot of times where we had to not go to this function for our sorority or not see our family this weekend because we were doing singer stuff. So figure out what time commitment doesn't bother you. You know what I mean? The place where you're doing what you love, and you love it so much that it doesn't matter how much you give of yourself because you're loving every minute of it. I'm trying to think what else. Another great thing is that I think when you find that place where it's your spot, you get to find your family and your home away from home, which is definitely what Allison and I have found in singers, in that we got to move to Auburn away from our families and all of a sudden meet a whole bunch of people who have the same passion as we do. And what a blessing that is to get to be around people who love what you love. That is such a gift. I also met my boyfriend in singers, so that works out. And some of my best friends, so I'm very grateful for that. And I would encourage you to find a place like that for yourself. I'm trying to think what else. Another thing is that when you're in college, it's such a safe place for you to figure out what works. You know, when you're in college, you always are going to have somebody who's over you in authority and can help you along the way. So if you're in a leadership role where, ooh, this is not my thing, and I know it's not my thing, like when I was section leader my sophomore year, I knew that it wasn't my thing, and so there were so many times where I needed to talk to Dale and say, listen, I don't know what to do in this situation, will you please help me? So it was great. College is a safe place to learn and to be able to perfect your skills. So that's sort of my spiel to y'all, and I hope that it was entertaining, if not like mildly inspiring. But thank y'all so much for letting me talk for a minute, and I'm gonna let Allison chat with y'all.
So, unlike EA, I didn't really grow up, teaching dance. EA's mom has a kind of a dance studio that she was able to teach at. I grew up, I did choir and dance, and I loved those things, and I was just very shy, and, just kind of always in the back, and like I enjoyed everything. So one of the great things about being in Singers is that when I came in freshman year, I knew it was the place I needed to be, and I became comfortable there, and I'm the kind of person that, relies on my comfort zone, which obviously is a weakness I need to work on, but Singers allowed me to be in a place where I was comfortable, and so sophomore year I was comfortable enough to become, an older person in the group and start enjoying it that much more. Let's see, junior year I was VP with EA, and that was one of my first, real responsibilities. And so I learned a lot of things. When EA and I were vice presidents, we worked really well together. We were very proactive, and since we had been in the group so long, we knew what needed to be done and got it done. Senior year, I was the president, and I had vice presidents underneath me, and their leadership styles weren't necessarily like that. So I learned a lot about different leadership styles and how to work with different people so they can respond in a helpful way. And so I realized EA and I are more proactive. There's those that need to be told exactly what to do, which is great. You just need to delegate and tell them exactly what needs to be done. So one of the most valuable things I learned senior year being president is just people's different personalities and leadership styles. I'm the kind of leadership style where I'm a silent worker. I'm just kind of lay low, and I want to get everything done that needs to be done the most effective and efficient way. And then the president that before and after me was the kind of person, like an idea person, that was always thinking of ways to make the group better, ways to change it. And so I think that we were a really good team because I am not as creative. I'm not about the ideas. I'm like, okay, what needs to get done? Let's do it. Like, get it done. So I can take someone else's ideas and process them in that way. So I found that a very valuable lesson. And I think that like having multiple types of leaders in Singers, especially senior year, I felt like everyone kind of had a place and a role, and that all those inherent roles made the group just gel really well together. You had me, I was kind of like behind the scenes, like just, bearing the stress of everyone. And I had, EA, who was like up at the front and telling everyone what to do, where to be, and when. And other people that were more of kind of lead by example, seniors that were just trying to set a good example for the new people. So I think that especially senior year, that kind of came together with all the different leadership styles. So just us talking to you, I just wanted to let y'all know that there's different ways to be a leader, and you don't have to be the president or something to be a leader in a group. You can just be someone who's really passionate about it and can lead by example or lead by mentoring those that are younger than you. So I just think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, that you don't have to be like head honcho to be a leader. You can just lead by example. One of the other things I learned was forming personal relationships as a leader, and so a funny example, our director Dale, we've been talking about, he's loved to death. He's just not the most organized, and he cannot communicate. So what I would do, you just had to you did problem solve. That's one of the most important things. And so I would literally go to his office 2 hours before we had rehearsal every day and sit there and just like have him talk to me, and me work with him and tell him, get him to tell me what to do to help him. So sometimes you have to kind of be able to read people and understand their strengths and weaknesses, and be able to kind of respond to those to get them to work with you better. So that was one really important thing I learned. And then there's personal relationships that I made, and then also I tried to be mindful of the relationship I have with the whole group. And looking at an organization like Singers, even though it's only 4 people, I was always, every time any decision was made, I was wanting to make sure it was best for the whole group as opposed to focusing my attention on one individual person. And like we said, Singers is very much like a family. Like, we're all best friends. So it's kind of hard in that aspect when you're, in a position of leadership, to make sure that you're looking at the whole group before, just one friend complain to you about something that needs to be fixed. You need to make sure you address, the whole group. And I kind of felt, actually one of my goals for senior year was to try to make the gap between the director and our group smaller, just because I felt like we were just kind of separated, and so I was kind of the liaison between the group and the director, since I worked with him a lot. And so I think that we really accomplished that goal during the year to bridge the gap and, you know, show everyone that Dale's just a person and he loves the group as much as we do, if not even more. And so that was something else I learned. But just all this to say, like, I am not someone that really expected to be, you know, in a huge leadership position in an organization. But I think it's because of the passion I had for the group and for the music and the dancing and the going on tours and the, you know, rehearsing until 12 o'clock at night. I just loved it in that way. I was able to feel confident enough to become a leader. And so just to wrap it up, a few other things that I learned that I grew on over the years. One of them is actually public speaking. I actually am terrified of public speaking, so sorry about that.
Isn't she great?
I'm working on it, but that was one of the things I wanted to work on. And as president, you talk to a lot of people, like a lot of alumni. We actually had a lot of people come with us on the tour this summer and getting to know them, and just making one of my other goals was trying to make the group just kind of more well known around Auburn and just take it to the next level. And so, you know, working with other people and with, you know, authority and, you know, other businesses, that definitely boosted my confidence a lot. And it's something that, you know, I kind of was thrown into, but it was just so great. And also, I was thinking the other day, I'll be starting work with an accounting firm next October, and so I had an internship this summer where I had to, you know, be professional and work with, you know, partners and people that are, you know, vastly older than me in experience and, you know, in years. And so I think that having been a leader and singer has really made me way more confident and, you know, able to talk about my experiences there and about actually be able to read people. I think that was really helpful this summer. Working with all different styles of people, you know, in the accounting profession, we have all different kinds. And so, yeah, there's a few things that I feel like I learned and I could apply elsewhere in life and become a leader in another way. So that's pretty much all I have.
That's so nice. Basically, I hope that what I've gotten from today is that it's so great that Allison and I got to learn this in our college experience, and it makes you grow so much, and it lets you take what you learn into whatever you want to do. You know, Allison is going to be an accountant, and she's going to be a fabulous accountant. And she's learned so much about making contacts and making relationships, and that's huge. And she got that experience from plugging herself into something that she was passionate about. I'm going to be a pharmacist, and I love people. I love them, and I love to work with them and learn from them. And so I got to practice that with people that loved me and cared about me. So it was great because I got to learn how to be a better lover and caretaker with people who could give me feedback. So, like I said, a safe environment to get to progress as a leader and a person who's gifted and talented and has so much to give. So I hope that y'all will take advantage of the time that you have to really cultivate who you are as a human being. You have so much to offer to the world and to the person sitting next to you. And I hope that y'all can find places and outlets to cultivate and learn how to be just a better version of who you are. Keep in mind that you have so much to offer. Your gifts might be totally different from mine and Allison's. We might not have mentioned anything near who you are as a person. But I hope that you can maybe take 2 sentences that we said and apply it to who you are and where you are in your life right now. And I think that that's really about it. Thank y'all so much for letting us come and being so attentive and sweet. Thank you for your smiles. I appreciate it. And I hope that we could give y'all a little bit of something to cherish for the rest of the day or the rest of the week or the month.
Do y'all have any questions for us or anything you're just wondering about, or I don't know?
Anything. There aren't any limits.
Feel free. I don't know if anyone actually does, but
That's fine.
I just wanted to point out that we've been talking about strengths, and as we try to get together into groups and figure out who should work with whom, we're noticing that you're really best served if you try to find somebody who has maybe a different strength. And what you really see with this pairing, I called EA and said, why don't you come on over and talk? And she selected Allison. And you can see that their strengths are in different places, and together they make the complete picture.
Absolutely.
That they're not the same person, and they're not playing the same role, but they're complementing each other. I just had one question, but I want to go back to my introduction. I noted when we were in Paris in the women's shelter that, I hope it's not, this is okay to say, but this relatively small woman was able to get this large group of people to line right up and do what she said right now. I was wondering if each of you maybe could give us one tip, just starting, I want with the curiosity factor. What is in your mind when you're, what's a tip for getting people to follow? A big part of leadership is followership. What's a tip for getting people to follow you?
I guess my thought is, first of all, make sure that what you want people to do is the right thing. Like if you're feeling confident that what you know needs to happen next is indeed the right thing, that's helpful. Because if you're kind of unsure of yourself and unsure of what your goal is, you're not going to be able to get people behind you. The other thing, I guess, would be consistency. I think that that's a thing that if people learn that your product, whatever that may be, your leadership style, your contribution to the group as a whole, et cetera, whatever your product is, if it's been consistent and good and effective, they'll listen to you. So, I've been privileged to get to show the group for several years that I know what I'm talking about. So they'll follow me, if that makes sense. So I think that's what it is.
I would say that the group really, really respects EA just because of all the work she's put in. Like whenever someone is, in the front and they're telling us, what to do, it's, it makes me feel so much better that, EA has literally been choreographing for the group or doing something for the group all 4 years. She, has worked really hard, so I owe her my respect. And I think that the personal relationships we made in the group definitely built on that. We all know each other, love each other, and are willing to give each other a chance to lead one another. And obviously, we got very comfortable with EA's leadership style since she had been a leader for so long, and that really showed consistency. Like we knew what she expected of us, and when she said something, we knew what that meant. So that also has something to do with it, I think.
Great. Do any of you have any questions?
Did you have one?
I do. When you had to call local businesses, just to put out that y'all were having a show or something like that, how did that partnership work?
Like how we split the responsibilities,
Or between us and the business?
Between you and the business.
Okay. It's very, it's kind of a what's the word of mouth? Word of mouth. I have a hard time with parts of the body. You would think I'd be better at that. Anyway, it's kind of a word of mouth sort of thing, knowing what businesses are willing to do that. Because there are, some businesses are like, I don't know, our business is our business. But then there are others that are super willing and very community based.
It really is easier than you think.
Yes, definitely.
All you have to do is just call someone and ask. You just never know.
Yeah.
People are, very receptive, and I would just, walked into the cleaners I usually go to. I'm like, hey, can I put something up? And they're like, sure, So, and it just depends. And there's no harm in calling someone and them saying no. That's if they say no, that's fine.
That's
Move
literally
on.
the worst thing that
they
could
won't
happen.
remember you. It's cool. And people living in Auburn, obviously, we're very lucky because most people are very kind and respectful. So, but yeah, there's no good question. It's really
It's trial and error.
Yeah.
Trial and error and kind of having an ear out in the community. That's why I said ear. Sorry. So you figure it out.
Yeah.
It's really not as intimidating as it sounds though, so don't worry. Anything else? Great questions. Team.
Well, let's give them a hand. I wanted to say, in a relationship to our Reading Heartbreak Hotel, this semester the College of Liberal Arts is Reading Heartbreak Hotel, and we are leading the charge for the CLA Reads.
Perfect.
And your colleague Dustin Sanders will perform Heartbreak Hotel
Yes.
on the lawn on October 16th. He's going to impersonate Elvis Presley.
Oh, yeah.
He's perfect for that.
Yes, and well, in case you see him, remind him that he's
Okay.
doing that.
I will.
And also, the AU singers will be performing Heartbreak Hotel on October 18th at 5 o'clock. When you will be where?
Oh no.
At the AU Hotel for the Ann River Siddons tribute, right? So the AU singers are actually going to open the show by singing Heartbreak Hotel. So we kind of carried the fun of the summer trip into this
Yes,
class, and
yes.
you will be seeing some more of the AU singers. When you see them live, you'll understand the complexities of what has to happen to get that kind of a show done. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.